Deputy Tony McLoughlin to ask the Minister for Environment, Community and Local Government the need to review procedures for registration on the Supplementary Voter Register and the Postal Vote Register. The Deputy has 4 minutes to make an initial statement.
Thank you very much indeed, Les Kincura. And first of all, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to raise this issue with Minister Hogan under topical issues this afternoon. Members will be aware that persons not on the voting register may apply to register on the supplementary register up to 15 days before polling day. Sundays, public holidays and Good Fridays are not counted as days for this purpose. I am aware, Kincura, of abuses in this area recently in the local electoral area in my constituency, where persons were added to the register through the supplementary and assigned to vacant addresses. I am confident that these people switched their votes from their home area into this area to support a particular candidate, despite the fact that in reality they never lived there nor will in the future. Minister, what I would like to see here changed is that any person who applies to register to vote under the supplementary register would be required to forward a copy of a proof of address document to the local authority with their application, for example, a bill, a bank statement, the normal evidence required to prove one's address. This move would stamp out this abuse, which, in my estimation, led to up to 20 to 30 people voting in a particular electoral area when in fact they should have registered elsewhere. The second issue I want to raise with you is the application process for persons who seek a postal vote because of one's occupation. In the Ballinamore municipal electoral area of County Leitrim at the recent local elections, 406 applications were received for postal votes. The vast majority were for reasons of a person's occupation. Of the 406 applications, 368 voted, with 365 casting a valid vote. What happened to the 40+? I'm still asking. I believe that a number of applications came from people who were living and continue to live in Australia, Canada and the United States. And it is clear that these people did not make the application themselves and were in fact done by people acting for a particular candidate at that local election area. I know one candidate who delivered back the unmarked ballot paper to the returning officer, where the parent of the applicant was bewildered to understand how their son would have a postal vote, considering he resides in Australia for the previous 2 years. I am not advocating that we suspend postal votes for persons who cannot vote due to their occupation. However, I am proposing, Minister, that you would review the application form so that a Garda or an authorised local government official would personally witness the application by a person rather than a form sent in from nowhere. Why did 40 applications in this area of County Leitrim not proceed to cast their vote? I can only suspect that once the list of voters were published and the Garda authorities notified, that attempts by some persons to vote on behalf of others didn't go ahead. Minister, I urge you to review these two issues and consider changes to prevent the prevention of democracy that may have happened at May's local election. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy McLoughlin. The Minister has 4 minutes to make an initial statement.
I wish to thank Deputy McLoughlin for raising this very important issue, which of course is of interest to all of us. In law, the preparation of the register of electors including the supplementary to the register, is a matter for each local registration authority. And it is their duty to ensure as far as possible, and with the cooperation of the public, the accuracy and comprehensiveness of the register. It is also important that all registered eligible voters are enabled to vote whenever there are elections or referenda. Eligible voters who are not on the register may apply for inclusion, as you know, on the supplement to the register. In order to be able to vote at any impending elections or referenda, a person must apply for inclusion in the supplement no later than 15 days, excluding Sundays and public holidays, before the next polling day. Equally, as Deputy McLoughlin has said, in order to be included on the supplement, it must be signed in the presence of a member of a Garda Síochána from the applicant's local Garda station. And the Gardaí must be satisfied to the person's identity before signing the application and may request identification. Some 3.2 million voters were on the register of electors at the recent elections. And this included 59,758 names added by way of the supplement to the register in advance of the elections. And I am conscious of the frustration of many electors who find that they're not on the register of electors when they go to a polling station, and of course others who are on the register of electors who are unexpectedly there. And in relation to the supplement to the postal and special voters list, I am satisfied to have the opportunity last year to make a change to the provisions in the Electoral Local Government and Planning and Development Bill 2013, which allowed more time for making an application for inclusion in these lists in advance of impending elections and referendums. Previously, it was a requirement that all such applications had to be made in the 2-day period after the making of the relevant polling day order. And this was unnecessarily tight in the case of referenda and presidential, European and local elections. On the new arrangements, applications for inclusion in the supplement to the postal and special voters lists can now be made up to 22 days before the next polling day. Returns received from the registration authorities by my department indicate that 9,278 names were included on the supplement to the postal and special voters lists in advance of the recent local and European elections. These, of course, would already have been on the register of electors. But I want to agree with Deputy McLoughlin that it is a matter that is a constant level of frustration to participants in the electoral process, as well as voters themselves. And I am, of course, anxious to make the necessary changes in the short term to ensure that in future elections that we'll be able to tighten up the process and eliminate some of the anomalies that are identified by Deputy McLoughlin.
Thank you, Minister Hogan. Deputy has 2 minutes for a supplementary statement.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor. I'd just like to thank the Minister, but I still believe, Minister, that, as I requested there, that in the review that would take place, that perhaps presiding officers in the local authorities would be the people that would be actually called upon, because these are the people on the ground, these are the people that know exactly what is happening, and I think that in a review situation, Minister, that these people would be consulted at local authority level, because they're, as you know, Councillor, they're hands-on, they know exactly what's happening on the ground. And I think that in view of what you have said, and I welcome your statement there, but I think it's vitally important that that a review would take place in relation to what I have outlined there, the anomalies that exist at the present time. And thank you very much indeed.
Here, look, I have listened with interest to the points made by Deputy McLoughlin. I can assure him that I share his concern about some of the anomalies that are cropping up too frequently in elections, and particularly the need to identify the people that are registering, either directly on the formal electoral register process or indeed through the supplementary register. And we are looking at the use of PPS numbers as one of the initiatives which is often suggested to improving the register. And while PPS numbers or any other unique identifier could assist the registration authorities in ensuring the register of electors is as accurate as possible, there are a number of issues that crop up which we'll have to consider before we go down that road. I'd also remind Deputy McLoughlin that the programme for government commits us to the establishment of an electoral commission, and we are going to establish that electoral commission in 2015. This matter will be addressed by the House of the Oireachtas, an appropriate time for him to make these suggestions again, and hopefully that we will be able to reflect the concerns that he has expressed. And we will be glad to enlist the support and the experience of the local authorities, but equally the presiding officers in all the various polling stations around the country, to see what is the best way to ensure that we have a good register of electors that people can be confident in, and that they have the confidence that what we see in terms of the register of electors and the voters that are registered there is fair and accurate, and as accurate as possible. And these are the matters that will be appropriate for consideration by the Electoral Commission in the events of the next general election.